My favorite words on Wednesday. You're live. So we're a little early. Yes, happy Wednesday, Suzanne. Happy Wednesday back to you. We're a little bit early, but I thought given the connection problems that we had last week, that I might come on a little early and see if there's any issues or anything along those lines, and maybe I can try to futz with them a little bit if need be. So hello again, Mao. So hello to Fred and Bill and Bill. We've got two Bills and Ruth, of course. Ruth's going to remind you that you can like the video, and that's one way to communicate things. You can always subscribe. That's a fancy thing too. And if you're just joining, we're early. I'm just trying to give us a little bit of a head start kind of a deal. Okay, better audio quality tonight. Okay, good. Thank you, Fred. I did kind of futz with that a little bit. I don't have my podcaster microphone in use. This is a little bit of a different one, and so that's good. Good that that's the case. I think I know what was wrong last time, so kind of user error on my part with the audio last week. But it'll be interesting to see. So this will be a teaser for the sit. It'll be interesting to see if the clock ticking is as pronounced tonight as it was last week. So it sounded like universally that was an okay thing for most people, or it didn't kind of raise their blood pressure. So that's good. And hello to Colette. And then do appreciate folks that have been watching the live recording, or the recording of the live broadcast, have been reaching out and emailing me. And so I see the numbers tick up. So it's always nice to know that it's not like YouTube bots or something, I guess. I don't know what I would use for an explanation for that. So if you're just tuning in again, and we're at the top of when we were scheduled to start, so I'll do my spiel. My name is Andrew. I'm a certified mindfulness meditation coach in the Unified Mindfulness System. I'm a software engineer. Oh, hey, Jennifer and S. Quinn, welcome. And so I'm a software engineer by training, and maybe a meditator because I'm a software engineer. That might be one way to look at it. And most will know me as the sometimes guest host and often moderator for the Do Nothing Project. Do Nothing Project on Sunday nights. Probably all know that. So yeah, it's great. It's great to see we've got a core group of folks. So thank you so much for carving out a bit of your Wednesday to spend with this community and with me. All right, so I have this I do way too much listening of podcasts and audiobooks, and I've gotten to the point now where I'm kind of okay if I don't always pull out like the coolest quote or the most like insightful thing from a podcast. I kind of trust that my subconscious will kind of file it away. But I tend to like take notes and stuff on scraps of paper and everything else, and then I add them to my journal and things along those lines. But I was listening to a podcast, I think it was called the Good Life Podcast, and it's about Susan Piver's book, The Buddhist Enneagram. So some will know from earlier in the year that I was in the meditation teacher training, or the Buddhist meditation teacher training that was offered from Susan Piver and the Open Heart Project. And so one of the things that was really interesting was Susan was offering this notion of we're not necessarily, at least in the meditation that traditionally is what she practices, which is shamatha vipassana. We're not creating anything. We're being like kind of aware of what's going on. And we're really shepherding experience, maybe, is one way to think about it. And And so I was thinking that that is kind of a nice contrast for us on this Wednesday sit, to play around with just being aware of where attention is. So where is attention at this point? If you ever heard, let me see, I have the um, Alexis Santos's teacher, Utejania, will often drop in comments of what's the attitude of the mind. Um, More evaluation centric, but in that same way that, and Dan Harris will talk about this on 10% Happier, but just dropping. So, in for us, if you get lost and you kind of lose track of where the awareness is, you can always kind of like come back to, okay, is the awareness on the body, or is it, am I listening to something? Is there a sound that I'm listening to, or something along those lines? But the idea being for the contrast is if we can kind of be our own awareness shepherd. Hey, welcome, Stroot. 2 weeks in a row. I went Gabrielle too. Excellent. Welcome, Gabrielle. And then hello to, I think I missed a few people, or at least one person. So hello to Lynn. But to just the looking at this idea of being aware of where awareness is. So kind of being this shepherd, to a certain extent. And then at the end, that last 5 minutes that we tend to have are would give the opportunity for doing nothing, or the practice of no technique, going from shepherding or being aware of where the attention is to being trusting that the awareness will go where it wants to go, or awareness will go where it chooses to go. So that's where we're headed. Yeah. And you're always welcome to do your own practice. 25-minute sit. We'll do the sort of standard where I'll give you a little bit of a setup at the beginning about posture and setting everything kind of into flow, and then I'll offer probably gaps. Hopefully they'll be deliciously long. Maybe that's a little bit high-minded or too high of an intention. And then the last 5 minutes, I'll give you an opportunity on the cue for that, of just being able to let go of that shepherding. So, yeah. If you have questions, you can always post those in chat, post reports as well, anything like that. So, yeah, thank you for being here. All right. Thank you to Jeff Groves, who always reminded, or I always think of whenever I set my phone into airplane mode so it won't make noise. All right, we got 25 minutes on the clock. And really quickly, if you notice that we've been going for a while, I was just starting a little bit early with hopes that we would have no video connection issues. All right, let's begin. So we begin by really just establishing the posture. So you're welcome to walk or stand or lie down or sit. Any of the 4 postures are totally fine, but I'm going to focus on being in the seated posture. And really, we begin by trying to find a way to allow the body to be upright without being uptight. We want to be still, but not rigid. And checking in to see if we have any tension. And checking in a way that is open and receptive. We're not chasing the tension away. We're just kind of a little bit of a hat tip. Again, if you find any tension, it's just our first opportunity to bring a no big deal attitude. And then our third thing, really focusing on some deliberate breaths. So it may feel like you're still in motion as you begin the process of establishing your posture and sitting still. So just a few deliberate breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Again, stealing from the Beastie Boys, we're looking for slow and low as our tempo. And if we feel a bit of a settling and a shift towards calmer presence, great. And if we don't, just having the confidence to know that as we settle into the sit, the body will shift a bit. So just beginning with this conscientious shepherd attitude of where is the attention at the moment, and then seeing if we can track the attention as it shifts. And so as you're settling in, maybe your attention is a little bit like a rambunctious toddler, kind of running from experience to experience. Or maybe your attention is more like a very discerning dog, spending its time to sniff and move slowly. In either case, the rhythm and pattern of what we're doing is the same. As a shepherd of experience, we're seeing where the attention is, and then soaking into that. So I'll let you shepherd and check in here in a bit. And so we're not creating anything, we are with what is. And that can be difficult if what is not comfortable. So just acknowledging that. And if what is too much at the moment, you can always stop meditating. That's always an option. We don't always talk about that, but it is. Or you could shift to focusing out. So using sounds, vision. And so the task of the shepherd is not to create anything, it's to be with what's here. And just a few reminders. So if you feel like you're getting pulled away or you are having a hard time staying with where awareness is focused, just knowing that you can begin again, reestablish the posture, check in with the posture. And then we're experimenting with kind of dropping the optional labels as we focus. So you can always say, no thanks, I want my labels. And so feel for, traditionally, at least in we use feel for body sensations, for the body, hear for sounds, and see for visuals. So again, always an option for you to tune that in if you want. And then permission finally just to begin again as many times as you need to. And if getting pulled away is frustrating, see if you can kind of bring a little bit of celebrating the wakefulness that you've realized that you were not awake and now you're aware of that. Okay. So now this is your invitation, if you want to let go of the technique altogether and sort of your time as the shepherd of experience is over, or it's over for now. So just allowing the concentration to float wherever, or your focus to be wherever it wants to be, knowing that you don't have to do anything with experience. You don't have to craft or meddle. You just allow it. And so I'll let you explore, do nothing, and ring the bell when our time is over. Apologies if I made anyone jump. It was a little louder than I expected it to be. Thank you for your practice. May your actions be for the benefit of all beings, and if there's any benefit that comes out of us all being together, may that be for the benefit of all beings as well. And then a late hello to Anna. You're incredibly welcome, Colette and Suzanne and Gabrielle. I'm really glad you enjoyed this sit. There is an ice cream truck in our neighborhood, and given that people reported they could hear the clock, you probably heard the ice cream truck. It has the very the very mechanical soundtrack. So okay, so you did, yes. And that is so I got, so here in Arizona it's 5:48. I got off of yes, Clementine is one of the tracks on there. I think Rudolph is also one of them. It's the standard jingle. It's the standard ice cream truck jingle that they're all programmed to do. It's pretty funny. You're incredibly welcome, Mao and Fred. And so I'm remarkably hungry, and so I had this moment of just how hilarious that was. My attention was kind of switching back and forth between the ice cream truck and the sensation of hunger, and going back and forth. So I had this kind of a funny experience in that, and sort of being able to shepherd along with it. So I definitely appreciated that. And then for some folks, you may find that you've got a relaxed part of the body, and you have a painful part of the body. So like you've got a sore back or soreness. And so sometimes I had a little bit in the last 5 minutes there, where my body got very relaxed in the last like 3 minutes, and I had a lot of rest in the shoulders and the spine, but then my back was kind of firing up after sitting at my desk for so long today. So anyway, that it is possible to have kind of those moments where, so at that point we've let go of our technique, and my focus is kind of just sort of toggling back and forth between those two things. So yeah, anyway, thanks for folks sharing in the chat. This week, I believe we will have an announcement on, I still don't know for sure yet, but I think we're going to have an announcement that we're not having Do Nothing Project on Sunday, but I don't know that for certain yet. So that's, if you aren't signed up for Jeff's newsletter, that's probably going to be the best place to find out. And that email goes out on Saturdays. That's usually when. So for some reason you think you've fallen off the list or anything like that, you can always go to jeffwarren.org and punch in information there. Oh, interesting. That's very interesting, Stroot. Yeah, I do know that Kelly McGonigal, her guidance in one of her books on stress, she basically highlights that you could meditate in any given yoga posture. I thought that was really interesting. Oh yeah, don't forget to click the those. Super great. And then I think either we're at the edge of 200 subscribers or we just crossed 200 subscribers today. So thank you for everyone for that. Instagram is one reliable way to get a hold of me if you're trying to reach out. So that's at leonards.coaching. And then I think most of you are on I'm managing the mailing list manually through Gmail at the moment. But today, the fact that we're doing that allows us to do kind of a talk back approach to things. And so just looking at like how people look for, what do they use for accountability. And I mentioned that mainly in the aspect of we're right on the edge of the new year, and just I'm sort of curious what folks use, or if they have anything around that. So folks that have been on the mailing list for a while will know that we did an accountability experiment, like a lo-fi accountability experiment with Google Docs. I think that was early part of November, and then later part of November into December. And so, oh, the stream is getting choppy. Okay, well, that's a bummer. And then in the new year, I'm hoping to have better internet. Fingers crossed. So we'll see how that goes. And then if you haven't signed up for the reminders, I will soon have hopefully some announcements of the folks that are going to fill in for me while we're away to the South Pole. So so if you didn't hear this yet, my girlfriend and I are going to Antarctica via Argentina in January. We'll be out basically 3.5 weeks in January, but that's 4 Wednesdays. So it's basically the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st. So I'm going to have someone, or at least the plan is to try to find some colleagues to fill in. And I think I've got one person who is a member of the Do Nothing Project community, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, Gabrielle, we've been looking forward to this trip for a long time. My girlfriend corrected me recently. So we did start planning it in 2019, and then it was disrupted as a result of things with the pandemic. So it's definitely been on our minds now. So, and I will eventually have lots of pictures on my personal Instagram for that, which is just Leonard's. So Lenards. And yeah, so if I find out anything in the next day or so, maybe I'll shoot out a reminder email or a scoop email for folks on what's happening for the Do Nothing Project on Sunday. And then if you do miss that, you can always connect with the CEC community on Monday night. So Monday night for Christmas, so Christmas the 25th, Aaron is going to be leading a sit or guiding a sit that day, but the CEC will be out on New Year's. So yeah, I think that's all the scheduling stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some of your Wednesday with me. Have a most excellent rest of your week.